The only thing we have to
Beer.
is
Beer.
itself.
Beer. So many choices.
Only no function beer well without.
Woohoo! Beer!
Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Busters, where we're going to bring you the news and reviews of some wonderful brews. My name is Dan Baker, as always joined by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner.
and our fermentertainer,
Wayne Baker.
Now today, very excited for this one. We are on location. We're out and about. We are in Westchester this time around. We are at Levante Brewing Company in the heart of the Westchester area. And we have two guys from Levante who have been so kind to welcome us out here. And there's a third one in the background with a killer mustache who does not want to
No, there's
be
no
on
one
the
else
microphone.
here.
No, okay.
There's no one
never
else
mind. I'm just imagining
You're
the
seeing
nice
things.
mustache then.
Yeah.
But no, we've got two guys who are stepping up to the mic with us tonight. We have with us,
Hi, my name's Eric Santos-Stefano.
and
Tim Floros.
guys, thank you so much for having us out and doing this with us.
Thanks for having us here.
Yeah, no,
Thanks for driving out.
Yeah, no problem at all. And this is what should be the last drive in my old car.
Yeah.
So we
Awesome.
get to send my car off with a bang. Hopefully not a literal bang, but hey, you know.
You finally got your Porsche.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's about time. Just waiting for that Aston
Hitting that
Martin.
midlife crisis a little early.
Well, with all the bacon I eat,
That's true.
Quarter life crisis? That's a thing now,
we can
right?
go with
It
it.
is,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's a song, too.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I have to look that song up
No.
and then
No,
listen
you don't
to
really.
it a couple
It's-
years ago.
It's forgettable.
Oh, okay. Thanks for the vote of confidence with it. Well, we have a lot in front of us today, so what I would like to do is this. So in trying to find articles for the news segment this time around, it kind of became difficult because every time I searched for the word beer in any news site, all that came up was the response to Budweiser's ad during the big game, because we're not really legally allowed to say what the name of the big game is, or else we'll have hefty lawsuits that we can't afford. But for anyone who may not be aware, Budweiser paid upwards of $9 million just for the time to air a 60-second commercial.
Where an adorable puppy was rescued.
Yes, however,
That's
is
the one you want to talk about, right?
totally. No.
That was the best one.
Well, the puppy and the Clydesdales, you can't go wrong.
I haven't seen either of these commercials.
Okay, I probably should have prepped you on this.
That's fine. Because everybody knows how big of a sports fan I am.
Well, yeah,
so,
totally.
I was totally not watching this.
Yeah. The what? The big game?
I was not watching I was engaged. I was eating a bowl of Cheerios, and it was so good. I was like, this is super.
All right. You could have just said the football game that broke out during the Katy Perry concert, in which a particular left shark happened to steal the whole game.
And the more you know.
Yeah, and the more you know, star.
That's all I thought about at the end of that.
Of course. But Budweiser, besides the puppy ad, they aired a relatively controversial ad. It was 60 seconds dedicated to why Budweiser is proud to be a macro beer. And in that ad, they made sure to mention that their beer is not designed to be fussed over and sniffed and dissected. And when they said it's not to be fussed over, they had a picture of a guy with a curly Q mustache, and I think he was wearing a Jeff cap. So what they think as the stereotypical
Was it
craft
Baldy
beer
Vic
fan
mustache?
It must have been. But what I wanted to do this time around for the news segment, instead of me reading an article about all this, I wanted to get points of view from everybody, and hopefully a lively discussion revolved around this. Steph, you're not too happy about that. Wayne doesn't even know what we're talking about.
No, I've seen the outrage
Yes.
on the social media, but I have not seen the actual commercial.
Here's what I don't like. So the commercial went on to say they're proud about being a macro beer, and I get, and we've mentioned this many times, they're brewers. To do the same thing over and over again on such a large scale, that takes nasty skill. That's ridiculous. You have to be
Absolutely.
a chemist at that point. But they made a point, what really got me, to say how they're against, or you can have your pumpkin peach ale or whatever it was, and the commercial aired not even 2 weeks after they acquired Elysian from Seattle, who has a beer called Gorgia on My Mind, a pumpkin peach ale. So I wanted to get the point of view from two guys that are inside the craft beer world to see what your take on it was.
All right, Eric's pointing me to go first. Point of view, I mean, I think that every beer has a place in the world. I don't know if that's too idealistic, but yeah, I mean, and just like Dan said, it takes a lot of skill to be a brewery that size. I think that most of the skill and most of the resources are pointed towards marketing. In the craft beer world, consumers don't really want to feel like consumers, don't want to feel like they're marketed, and want to be a part of something. So, I obviously enjoy craft beer and the whole experience that it offers. But yeah, I mean, at least they're owning up to it, and they're not trying to call themselves something they're not. So.
Yeah, that is the interesting point, I guess, is they've been trying to hide it for so long and trying to buy up all these craft breweries, and now they're totally going the other way and saying, no, we are a macro brewery,
right.
and, drink it because you like it.
And I think just like you said, the actual act of taking a stand and recognizing the division, I think just serves to legitimize craft beer anyway, because obviously it's gotten their attention. I mean, we've all known it's gotten their attention, but now they're officially saying during this bleep,
The what?
the big game.
Okay.
If we're not using it for advertising purposes, I think we are allowed to say it.
I was just going to bleep
Can
it
we call
anyway.
it the Bowl Super?
The Bowl Super.
Is that a basketball game? What is
Oh,
that?
I think it's a bowling event.
I'm going to call it the...
I think the most interesting thing to me was Miller Coors' response. Have you seen this?
I did not see
their
that.
response to the
Wow.
ad. They put out it's not a video, it's like a print
Infographic.
ad, an infographic, thank you, saying that they do believe beer should be fussed over. So it's interesting that a macro is stepping up and...
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
There was an article that I read like the day after it aired, and it dissected every bit and I don't think there were any vocals in that or any voice in that commercial, but it was all just text on the screen. And it was dissecting it bit by bit, and I really wish I could remember where this was. But it was basically saying how, Budweiser, they stereotype the craft beer fanatics as the guy with the curly Q mustache, and they say that our beer, we're proud to be the golden suds and this and that. And while, like I said earlier, it does take major talent to be able to do that, the fact that you are proud to have a beer that, let's face it, doesn't really taste the best, and have it on such a wide platform, I guess, just kind of is weird to promote the almost lack of flavor on it and make fun of people
that's
who
why
want
some
the flavor.
people drink it.
That's the thing. It's just something. It's when I was in
that's
college,
fine.
I drank it a lot because it was cheap. I could get it anywhere that I went, and it got the job done.
It's
I think if this weren't coming out in the climate now, like with the recent acquisition of Elysian and 10 Barrel, and you go back and all those things going on, which is really causing a stir, I think, among people. I know Steph and I have talked about how it seems like up until now, a lot of people are kind of the opinion that, Goose Island is owned by AB InBev, but they make great beer. So
They do.
To hell with it, I'm going to drink it. But I love Goose Island.
Right.
But I think the perceptions are starting to change, and people are starting to say, this might not be a good thing. Like, this might be, and I think if you took that climate away and you just had that commercial and them just saying that, yes, we're a macro beer, we're a light American lager, this is what
Yeah.
we
We
most
wouldn't have
people
our
drink.
panties in a knot.
It would be cool. It would be a nice little bit of like like a little back and forth. They could say these craft beer guys are dumb, and the craft beer is gonna be like, oh, your beer's tasteless, and it would kind of be like no harm, no foul. We're just kind of picking on each other.
It does bring up a time where we need to start thinking, if I care about where my beer comes from and who owns my beer, then I need to educate myself. I need to educate myself on who's selling my beer. What are their intentions?
Right.
Look at Budweiser as a company and look at where their money is going and what their lobbyists are fighting for. And I constantly go back to Florida. Our listeners know that our grandfather lives in Florida and that we love beer from Florida, Cigar City, Funky Buddha. And those brewers in Florida have been fighting a very long fight, just to be able to sell their own beer and to be able to fill 32-ounce growlers. And one of the biggest groups that's fighting against these small brewers having those opportunities to sell their beer is InBev. They are funding a lot of the lobbying that's going on down there, and
That's actually kind of cool.
You just, Budweiser on one hand, it's great for craft brewers that they've done good business. They want to make money for what they've produced. We can get their beers; they're more readily available. I love Franziskaner, and I love to be able to go many places and get it. And could I get it anywhere if it wasn't owned by InBev? Probably not. However, am I supporting the devil by buying these beers, and where is that money going?
Right, and that's
so you vote with your dollars. It's the same argument as to whether to buy organic or not organic
Right.
foods. I mean, you just have to, how much do I believe in this, and how much do I want my dollar to count? Drink what you want to drink, but it is something to think about now. And I don't think a lot of craft beer drinkers needed to or even cared to think about it before, but I don't know, maybe there is an urgency to start educating ourselves about where this money is going. Who do I want to support?
That's a good way of looking at it. And a throwback to something I did a long time ago that I really want to do again, the Dan's Beer is Not From Here articles that I have on the website from forever ago, and there are only 2 of them. The first one I did, are there 3? I don't even remember how many I wrote. The first one I did, though, was Boddington's, who is owned by AB InBev, and it's a British beer. We would never see it over here, much like Francis Connor, if it were not for the distribution and the huge reach that AB InBev gets. So it's a fine line to walk down. It's a double-edged sword, but when it comes down to it, as long as for me they're not touching the recipe or the quality of the craft beer they're acquiring, dare I say I might be okay with it.
And I was the same way. But now I'm at the point where I think I need to start looking at that. Is it worth me spending the money and giving my money to a company that I don't necessarily agree with where they're putting their money? And there are people out there that truly believe that Budweiser is out to destroy craft beer and they want to get rid of it. Whether that's true or not, I mean, that's speculation. We
Hi,
don't
John
know.
Gillespie.
But
Yeah, I was going to get there.
I mean, but I don't know. But I also think that as a craft beer community, this is a time that we really need to be careful.
Yep.
We need to come together and support each other and not get in arguments with each other saying, if someone gets really upset about the Budweiser commercial, okay, let them get upset and let them go support their local brewery even more. If you're okay with it and you still want to drink craft and InBev, okay, let's have a thoughtful conversation about it and not argue about it. There's also that fine line.
We can all be happy.
Yeah.
You mentioned supporting your local brewery, and that's something that means a lot to us here, and it's really what we've done throughout our craft beer journey, if you want to call it that. Is we've learned and we've learned from and supported other small craft brewers. Steve Armstrong, I know you guys have had him from Armstrong Ales here on the show. He's taught us a lot. The guys from Iron Hill. Pretty much every brewery around here, Yards, has been really receptive. The industry as a whole, the craft beer industry, and especially locally, is growing like crazy. And I think it's something that we should look into supporting more, if you're not already. So I think that's a big reason in and of itself not to buy the bigger brand beers, or at least to, think twice about that. Go for a small local brew.
There's a huge camaraderie in the craft beer world. And, even if I go out and I get my Boddingtons, or now if I go get a Legion or anything that's owned by the bigger ones, I'm still always going to support local, because guys like yourself who are pouring, metaphorically, blood, sweat, and tears into the beer, there's a lot to show for.
I don't know, given some of the beers that have come out lately, it might literally be blood, sweat, and tears in some
That's
of them.
true.
And there's going to be a crap ton of pumpkin peach ales coming. Just
Of
wait
course,
for it.
just to stick it to Budweiser.
And I think this is a conversation. I mean, we could do the entire episode just talking about
Yes.
this. And it's just, keep your eyes out open. Things are changing or moving, or things are happening in the beer industry.
In the
that
age of acquisitions,
could
it's
go
important.
one way or the
And
other.
make your own decision. Is it important to you or is it not important to you?
And be educated about it, because I think that's one thing that people that are outside the craft brewing industry, they have no idea that some of these beers are owned by AB InBev.
Yep.
They have no idea. They'll be drinking something and say, look, I'm drinking this craft beer. Well, sort of.
Yeah.
So, and that's probably why this is making such an outrage, is that they've been so shady about it for so many years.
Yeah.
And even the packaging doesn't change. They don't put AB InBev on it at all. So,
Which I
something to
kind
think
of
about.
like that, to be completely honest. So it's not that I don't see it as they're being shady with it, but I see it as they don't want anybody to see that logo on there and associate, the darker, milk stout with the Budweiser Classic brand, or Bud Light, which sells $6 billion a year in the U.S.
So more along the lines of protecting their other brands.
Pretty much, yeah, and creating your competition, like Kellogg's with cereal. They've got how many different arms of cereal, and how many, the parent company that owns how many different brand names within it. You create your own competition, but then at the end of the day, it's all right. But how far does your arm reach with that? I don't know.
There's a newspaper on the table.
I was about to
There
get
is
to that.
an
Yes.
actual physical newspaper.
Yes, in the day of digital media, we have a physical newspaper. Now, this is a kind of cool story for anyone living in Berks. Wayne, actually, if you want to, since you're holding the paper.
Okay, yeah, I've kind of been trying to glance at it while we were talking, but I was also trying to pay attention to the conversation. So, but yeah, our local in Reading, our local craft beer purveyor, the Barley Mow, awesome place in West Reading, is now going to be delivering beers direct to your door. Peter, one of the owners, Peter and Claire, own the place. Said people have told us
Who have
they're very
recently
excited
gotten
about
engaged.
this. Oh,
Congratulations,
congratulations! I was
Peter.
aware of
That's
that.
so cool.
We're up and running and ready to serve. So apparently they had to get a special license. It cost $700 one-time charge, $30 processing fee, $160 per quarter for a maintenance fee. They got what was the car?
They got a 2009 Volkswagen.
I'm going to say
something or
Passat.
other. No.
Is it a Beetle?
They have see. In order for you to get this licensing, the company has to own the car, and everyone who drives it must have insurance underneath the company. So some
they
legal
bought
stuff to protect
a Volkswagen Rabbit. earlier this week.
So that I think they're delivering just within 5 miles for right now, and you can get up to 192 ounces, which is the equivalent of 2 6-packs. So, but they're hoping to expand that. I guess they want to see how it goes and how the response is. And I think it's a $5 delivery charge.
It's not bad. Do we know?
No.
Did they say how far from the barley mow they're gonna?
5 mile
About
radius.
5 mile.
Did you already
radius.
say that?
Yeah, you're
she
a great
did.
listener. But this is something that a lot of other pizza shops, and I know Paradise by the Slice in Sinking Spring, a place that we love to go to after recording when we're home. They are also, you can order a pizza and get 2 6-packs. I mean, I think it's
I didn't know they did
thing.
that.
Yeah, they
That's really
also
cool.
recently started with this new law. So
That's a beautiful thing.
It's
And
very
who's
cool.
the license from? Is that the PLCB?
The PLCB. I guess it's not exactly the guidelines aren't really
They're a
clear
little vague right
from what
now.
I'm getting from this article. Yeah, so I guess it's something that's only recently been a thing that people are really starting to do.
apparently, what they said, 50 people have applied for this, and I'm not
Yeah,
sure. what
other
the
people have.
50 licenses are in the process of the Railroad Street Bar and Grill in Limerick. I know I've covered an event there. They also are getting one. So
There's
a cool idea.
There's a beer distributor not too far from me in Philly that does it, but I've never really looked into what it would cost, or I never really thought about the licensing behind it. But
Well, you got to figure. I mean, you have the same issues anytime you're selling alcohol. If you're delivering it, I mean, you have to make sure that the person purchasing it and receiving it is old
I
enough.
think they said they have to show 3 forms of
There
ID.
was something about and I don't think that was a requirement. I think somebody else who was looking into doing the delivery was saying about requiring that just to cover themselves and going through the same training that bartenders do. You know, you're not going to deliver to somebody who's obviously noticeably intoxicated and all that kind of stuff. So
I'd be afraid as a delivery guy not to get robbed or something like that.
I know,
that's
right.
true. That is, absolutely. That's a very good point.
don't give me the money, just give me the beer.
Yeah, just drink it before it ever gets there. So.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But beer deliveries. I mean, you can make it work. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool, and it's cool that it's a thing that might potentially be growing, and that could hopefully mean.
And when I win the Barley Mow T-shirt design contest, or by the time this airs, I probably already have one, and I get that $100 gift certificate.
Are you going to spend it all on delivery?
They're going to deliver. I'm going to have all of the beer delivered to me.
You do live within 5 miles of them.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So.
We're just going to assume you won. Yeah. You might need to get your passport out, though, because you need 3 forms.
I don't think I have.
License.
I've got licensed Social Security card, but I don't know.
Birth certificate.
You're not going to leave the house
I don't-
again.
Yeah, I don't know where my birth certificate is, to be honest with you.
You can get food delivered, you can get beer delivered. Yeah, stay at home, especially when it gets extra cold outside, like it is right now. Yeah. Well, that was a rousing bit of conversation, and I'm glad. I think that worked out pretty well.
Did we rouse the yeast?
Did we? Let's ask the brewers.
I hear him bubbling over there.
Yeah.
So,
Bubbling like a champ.
Yeah. Well, as we mentioned at the top, and the guys were kind enough to put in their 2 cents, we are at Levante Brewing Company. We are in Westchester, Pennsylvania, which is a suburb of Philadelphia for anyone who may not be familiar with the geography, but let's face it, most of our listeners are from this area anyway.
Roughly.
To an extent.
There's 2 in Brazil.
Go Brazil, World Cup 2014.
Hola.
But yeah, guys, again, I can't thank you enough for sitting down with us and welcoming in and bringing some beer. and
absolutely, you're welcome.
It's
Thanks for having us on the show.
very excited to be here. When Steph told us that we were coming here, I just perked up, smiled ear to ear, and I
You were
couldn't
just
wait.
glad you didn't have to drive to Reading. Admit it.
Hey, that's part of it. That's part of it. But and I hadn't been here before today, but the initial buzz I heard about Levante was fantastic.
Yeah.
So
And
that's-
good to hear.
Yeah.
And you're not even open yet officially, which
Not
is
officially.
Yeah,
this is
it's all
exciting.
underground, but I'm very excited. Now, you guys, how long have the 2 of you been doing this kind of stuff? Whether it's home brewing or had the idea for Levante?
Well, we've been brewing together for about 7 years now. So, our first batches were in Tim's apartment when he was still in college. We used to smell up that apartment pretty well.
We're usually pretty drunk when we're brewing. So.
Fair enough. Did you go to Westchester?
I went to Villanova.
Villanova. All right.
So that was 5-gallon batches, and we'd make it like half at a time with extract, and it was a mess. But hey, we had a good time, and we made some good beers, and we had a lot of fun doing it. So it's just kind of grown up from there, slowly phasing, and crafting our recipes and getting people to try them, and now we're here. I mean, it's been a long road. Just the business plan itself, we spent 3 or 4 years on, and then getting investors and to get to this point. But it's been a tough, fun road, I'd say. We're just ready to get our beers out there in a larger scale now.
Yeah, we can't wait for people to start drinking them.
Absolutely,
I would imagine.
I see behind us there's a small batch system. Is that the original system? Because then you have this monster 15-barrel system behind us as well.
We took a big jump.
Massive growth here.
that is a big jump. Yeah.
We
good.
well, as Eric was saying, we started brewing in a little aluminum 3-gallon pot. We would add water to our ale pail, and we moved up to a 15-gallon Blickman system, and then just recently this year acquired this electric 55-gallon system. So it's been really nice while we're waiting for the 15-barrel system to be up and running. We have some small fermenters back there, as you guys saw probably when you came in, with all the beer that we're going to be drinking tonight. We've been brewing on that system. So
yeah, the two of us drove out to Kansas City and back nonstop to pick that bad boy up.
Jeez.
So
Wow.
Wow.
How long was that drive?
Well, it was 3 days straight of driving.
Oh,
basically.
God.
Oh man, it was pure hell, but good times at the same time.
Yeah.
Now that it's done, you can look back and say it was a good time.
That's the best road trips are.
we took every legal substance that we could to stay awake.
Multiple.
We were just searching.
Yeah.
Now, you guys are not just brew buddies, you're also brother-in-laws, correct?
Brothers-in-law.
Brothers-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry,
Everyone
Eric.
knows my grammar is terrible.
Yep. The man, he married my sister. So.
Yeah,
Were
he's
you-
never forgiven me.
You were brewing together before?
Actually, I met Eric's sister through work right out of college, and we started, watching football together. We were drinking buddies for a while, and then when we got into brewing, I don't know if I can't remember if we both separately got into brewing, but I just remember it more as a together thing. We would always brew at the college apartment. We fermented in Eric's basement. We had this really cool setup there with all of our plastic conical fermenters and heat wraps and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think I got off topic there. But yeah, I married Eric's sister. So.
It's funny how it started with your wife and you
Went
ended
to
up on beer.
Always.
Yeah, she would agree with that statement too, because
That's
Our wives call themselves beer widows because we're always here. So.
Nice. Well, we call Rich and Noelle the beer busters' wives.
Pretty much, yeah.
So right now we're sitting in the actual brewery space, but right next door, is that going to be the future tasting room where guests will come, or are you going to be solely a production brewery?
that is absolutely correct. So our bar is under construction right now. So we're hoping that side is going to be open in about a month. A long way to go. We're constructing bathrooms and such right now, but lots of work to go, and we're hoping to have a nice little tap room, nice, simple, good food, and then next door, we're actually really happy. There's the Artisan Exchange Market, it's called, that's open on Saturdays, which is an indoor market with all kinds of craft food producers. So, and they recently just put together 2 food trucks. And
Oh,
we've
yeah,
been
we saw
talking
those
with
out there when we came in,
so
yeah.
we've been talking with the owner of those 2, and he really wants to work with us and park out front. So we really can't wait for this weather to turn over to the spring, and we can open this door here and park a food
gonna
truck
be
out,
good times.
out front.
Good
It's gonna
times.
be- It is.
So you're gonna do like a tasting room, or more? Are you gonna do like a brew pub kind of?
It's going to be more of a tasting room.
Yeah.
We're going to have, as you guys are familiar with the PLCB laws.
Yeah.
So we have to offer some kind of food here.
Right,
And
right.
if we're going to do it, we want to do it well, but only, a few items. So we're thinking, Italian sausages, cheese plates, possibly light fare. And then we'll have 8 taps here at the bar. So
Right.
we're trying to do 4 all year round brews. About 2 seasonals and 2 specialty ales or beers
cool.
at any given time. So we're going to be busy brewing and serving, hopefully.
Cool.
Are your beers also going to be available on tap at local bars as well?
Yeah, we're actually working right now with bars in the area. We're thinking probably a 15-mile radius. We're going to self-distribute it first, so and then also work with local distributors to get the beer out there to restaurants and bars.
And cans, bottles in the future, or just draft only for now?
We're big fans of cans. One thing we've been talking about is, how we get out there more beyond that 15-mile radius. Cans are better for the beer, obviously. We could go with that conversation forever, I'm sure, as well. But, we've talked to the portable canning businesses. We Can is one of them, that they'll come to your site with their truck, do a batch for you and leave, and you have 200 cases of beer sitting
That's
there.
awesome.
So we definitely want to experiment with stuff like that before we dive in and buy our own canning line. But we definitely want to do that in the future.
Awesome.
Now that smaller system that you guys still have, are you going to use that for your specialty ales or any like experimental batches you want to do?
Yeah, that's our baby right there. We love it. We're gonna do so. Right now we have these all kinds of wild plans for beers that we want to brew.
Ooh, I want to hear it.
Let's just does it have anything to do with jalapenos or spicy beer? That's all she really wants to know.
Actually, recently I met a home brewer who did a jalapeno IPA, and it was outstanding. So I was like, I have to do something with this. So we might even bring him out, and yeah, definitely come on out.
Awesome chili beers.
She really does.
All right.
Very cool. Yeah, I've been thinking about a black IPA and then aged with jalapenos or something like that.
Nice.
So,
Ooh.
Chipotle, so you need something smoky to go with
Oh,
the
I like it.
roasted
I like
ones.
that even
I
better.
just did I need the right word. Smoked chipotle. No, a chipotle pepper smoked bach.
Oh my
Whoa.
gosh.
It's lagering right now
Whoa.
with my buddy Greg, so I can't wait.
Oh, that's the one you did.
That sounds good.
Over at his.
It's almost ready to keg, but it's I can't wait. I do my favorite beer that I brew is a habanero IPA.
Which is really good.
Jalapenos just aren't enough heat for me, but I do a jalapeno saison.
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 Do you get a lot of spice out of the peppers when you brew with them?
Yes. Oh,
Okay,
yeah. I
cool.
put a shit ton of peppers
She
on my
really
beers.
does.
I like it.
Yeah.
My last 5-gallon batch of habanero IPA, I did 18 peppers at Burnout,
Holy
and then I
crap.
added like 5 more to the finished beer.
Did you wear a respirator when you were cutting this?
That's like her natural atmosphere to breathe, like just peppers and
I love it.
heat. And when we were at the Homebrew Fest, we had the stand there, and you brought was that the jalapeno
I
or
brought
the
the
habanero
habanero.
IPA? But then you had the Randall Jr. with the
Yeah.
ghost chilies in it.
Yep.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So you don't like spicy food at all?
Very cool. But yeah, so we're going to have you in for that. You can
love that.
consult for sure and help us brew. It sounds like you have a lot of brewing experience. So actually, why don't you just brew the beer? We'll
I'll just watch.
Wait a minute. As long as I don't have to roll up hoses. That's my least favorite part of brewing.
I'll
Production
roll
process.
the hose.
So what are some other small batch beers that you have ideas floating in your...
Well, we have so we've brewed kind of a wide variety of beers in the past, but what we really want to get into is some barrel projects. I know you see a lot of them out there, but we really want to do it well and do it on the small system, and then maybe if it gets popular, jump it up to 15, 30 barrels even. But sours, I'm a sour guy myself. Love IPAs, but the sours have a special place in my heart. So I mean all the stuff that takes forever to condition. So in 3 years, get back to us. No.
All these things.
And we've been talking about this a porter for a long time, a vanilla bourbon porter.
Whoa.
So we want to jump on that at some point too. But we'd like to have a barrel or two so we can really do it right. So.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, that sounds really
So
good.
And what's nice is that your location is great. I mean, we say Westchester. The first thing I think is like where the college is and where Iron Hill is. But you guys, if anybody knows 100, where Kelly Sports is at the light, you just turn there and you're back in this kind of industrial area. But it's so easy to get to. There's plenty of parking, and it's really nice for a Philly area brewery to just be easy to get to. We don't often have that. Some of these breweries are not so easy to get to, and then you're like, where am I going to park? And
Absolutely, we wanted to be
it's a good
accessible.
location.
Yeah, and you mentioned Kelly Sports. That's all we have to say, and people
Yep,
are like, oh,
people
I know exactly
know.
where that is.
Well, that's what Rich was pulling it up on Google Maps. I'm like, where exactly in Westchester? He's like, oh, Kelly Sports. I'm like, okay, we know where it is.
It's funny, you tell someone you're right off 202, right behind Kelly Sports, and they're like, oh, I don't know Kelly Sports. You're like, forget about you then. You have no idea where it is. No. But
never find it.
Thanks. Yeah, we really lucked out with the space, and also being right next to the Artisan Exchange is just like a really cool combination.
So how long have you guys been in this space now?
July was when we started renting it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was quite a project trying to find a brewery space. It's not something that a lot of owners of these types of places want.
Yeah.
So a lot of it was just just over the phone, no.
Yeah.
And then slowly you find somebody that might be cooperative, and our owner that we've been working with is a great guy. He's letting us do whatever we need to in this space, and really we've transformed it. If you could have seen it when we first moved in here, it was I don't know. Apparently, this was an old mushroom growing house. That's what it was.
The legal kind of mushroom. So we're told.
So we're told. Yeah.
We're from Berks County. You say mushrooms, we think mushrooms.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've done a lot of work to get it in the shape it's in now, and we're ready to invite some people in.
And you both have business degrees. How helpful has that been through this process with your background, your education background?
Well, with any with any business per se, I mean, that's really, it's got to be at least half of what you're trying to do. You know, of course, there's the magic of brewing, but if you don't really have a good backbone and think about how you're actually going to make money, then it's not going to work. And, you know, I think that's definitely come into play, and we were able to bring on, you know, really quality investors because of it. So it's definitely helped.
I think with any venture, and especially brewing, with how capital intensive it is, it's really important to know the business. We weren't experts in starting our own business by any means, but having that background, especially being able to write the business plan and you know, communicate it well to other people, helped us raise the money that we needed. And it's never enough. First off, you know, I think every business owner knows that. But at least we got a nice little you know, start nest egg, something to start with. So, you know, we got the system ready to go, and I think it's helped a lot.
And talk about the name Levante.
Who wants to do that? Okay. All right. So we're both we have Mediterranean heritage, Italian mostly, and when we're kicking around names for the brewery, and this was obviously years ago, we're thinking, you know, it should have dog in it. Slow Dog, I think, was the first idea, and we're like, nah, everything has dog in it. So we started thinking about our Mediterranean heritage, and we started looking at Italian words. Levante was like really cool. It just kind of like rolled off the tongue, has a cool pronunciation. But what it means in Italian is the east, or to rise. You know, the point on the horizon where the sun rises. And so really, what it means to us, our whole kind of motto is elevate your craft. Kind of a play on words to either raise your beer, or, you know, everything you do it, you know, to the fullest or your best. So it kind of comes from, you know, our heritage, but also just a cool Italian word.
It is a cool sounding word. It is fun to say. Levante Brewing. I like it.
and our ultimate goal really is to be a destination brewery. You know, we kind of want to model after that small family-run winery in Tuscany. You know, that's really the ultimate goal. So, you know, if some point we could buy a mill, fix it up, turn it into a brew pub, that's really what we want. And it's sort of our 10-year plan, you know what I mean? So, and the motto he touched on, elevate your craft. Yeah, it's a play on the word Levante, but we really want that to be, you know, not just with the beer, but we want to, you know, enhance the community, you know, elevate everything surrounding us. That's really what we are striving to do. You know, encourage people to, you know, elevate their local community by supporting all these businesses. So that's where we're headed.
It's very inspiring. I like it a lot.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. It's really just about making and drinking beer.
Yeah, it's
That's
making
inspiring.
me thirsty.
Yeah. Well, should we get on that?
That was an excellent segue.
It was. Yeah. Awesome. Well, let's do this.
Beer me! Beer me! Beer me! Beer me!
All right. So we have, for our first tasting, what do we have in front of us now?
We have the Bianco. You don't have to pronounce it like that.
I like that.
Bianco means white in Italian. It's not a theme thing where we're trying to go every beer is Italian. But, you know, you go to a restaurant in Italy and they say Bianco or Rosa. So you're ordering a white or a red. Here, the white ale, white Bianco. So it made sense. But so this is a Belgian-style wheat ale or wit beer. It's brewed with, you know, a large amount of wheat, some barley, Pilsner malt, and then also we have coriander, bitter orange peel, and noble hops in it. So
it's very rustic.
It is. I really like it.
That's a good word.
Yeah, it is. That is a good word.
Like
Perfect.
thank you.
That feel that you're going for here, trying to like the Tuscan winery, like I feel like I'm at a Tuscan brewery. I love the
It's got like
freshness,
the
rustic,
earthiness and like the grain up front, and then
yeah.
it comes in with the citrus and the hops at the end to clean it up, and it is very
By the
rustic.
way, I want to thank my Untapped friend who used #cleans up after itself. You are awesome.
No hashtags!
Wait, I thought that was actually you saying that for a second, and I realized it was a sound clip.
Yeah, I really like this.
This is really good.
It's
Glad you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, that's definitely our most refreshing beer.
Yeah, and I think it like Steph said, it captures that everything you're talking about, that Mediterranean rustic sort of like vineyard kind of grassroots sort of thing.
Right in the glass.
Yeah, it's
going to pair really well with foods too, like
Yeah,
some
and-
sun-dried tomatoes
Ooh,
and
there you go.
mozzarella.
Keeping the
basil.
Italian
Now I'm getting hungry.
yeah, I know, right?
I can see this one doing really well once it warms up. Like once seasonal warms up. It's,
yeah.
you know, drink this outside.
I thought you meant
you
the
have-
beer. I was like,
Well, no, well.
I was going to kick him under the table for a moment, and then he
No,
recovered.
no, the weather. Don't
I
worry.
know, I know.
No, I totally agree. It's
this
gonna
one
be a
sucks
great
right
summer
now.
beer.
But, no.
Thanks for the free beer. It tastes like shit.
But you know, the wit beer or white ale is like a classic style. We didn't want to go too crazy with this one. We wanted to stay pretty true to, if you go to Belgium and you get a wit beer, you know go to the bar and drink what the locals drink. That's what you're gonna get. You know, you're gonna get a classic beer. So that's really what we were going for, and I think we got there.
Yeah.
It's full
Absolutely.
of flavor.
Oh, yeah.
It really
Very
is,
full of
yeah.
flavor.
Good to hear. Yeah, we've actually played with it in the past. We actually put the grapefruit peel in it.
Oh yeah.
That was even more citrus. But you know, like Tim said, we wanted to sort of stay with the style as much as possible while making it as beautiful as this beer.
And you could play around with this as a base. And
I was
do
just gonna
some
say
really
that
fun small
this
batches
is
of
inviting
this.
for a lot of like fruits and like you said the grapefruit type. But
I almost get like a hint of lavender in the background, and it's
We
good.
in the summer we do a variation of this beer with cucumber and mint.
Whoa.
So that's been a big hit. So I think we're gonna try to do that again this year.
that's
Yum.
pretty cool. Nice.
That could be really cool.
And I like the hazy, unfiltered.
Oh, it's definitely 100% unfiltered.
Yeah. Beer
Gotta
in the
get it.
raw, as it were.
Oh yeah, you gotta get all those yeast flavors in there.
I mean, that's where you're
floating
gonna.
bits.
I feel like you mentioned, you know, a little lavender or spice, pepper. That's where you really get so much as flavor. If we were to filter it, which I think we have in the past, or at least we've you know cold crashed it and gotten all the yeast out. It's a great beer still, but it's still kind of there's something missing.
Right.
The yeast really has to be in
It
there.
loses the
Its
complexity.
character is-
Yeah.
You guys drink too fast, man.
Sorry.
Fill her
Dan
up.
and Steph's tasting glasses are already empty. I'm trying to savor.
No savoring.
There's an extra right
can
here.
savor
It's
the
all
next
right,
one.
man.
There is an extra right. Hey, Dan, if you want to.
Yeah, might as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
If you
It's
have
right
to.
in front of me.
If I have to.
He did have to reach.
Man, this is a good one to start off with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Now, was this, you may have mentioned it, I don't know. Was this like a homebrew recipe that you guys sort of tweaked and
Absolutely, it's been tweaked over the years, and you know, we don't make homebrew anymore, but it is you know it's come from those roots.
came from that? Okay.
And this will be one of the 4 year-round beers.
Absolutely, yeah. We so 3 of the beers that we're tasting tonight are going to be one of the 4 kind of, we call them our solid ales, 4
like
all
that.
year round beers, and really they started off as homebrew beers, and we just changed little things here and there. You know, we'd get to a change where it was too big, and you know maybe it wasn't quite what we wanted, so we dialed it back, and we did that for probably 4 or 5 years with these 4 recipes. So that's why we're kind of, the whole time the plan really was to use them as our base beers for the brewery.
And what we're doing with the ESB and the IPA. What will the 4th one be?
Did I say 4? I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, it'll be a pale ale. It's called
Oh,
the
pale ale.
Polito. It's actually
I meant to say 4. Yeah.
yeah, it's,
You did
it's,
say 4.
Yeah.
there is a batch of it fermenting right now actually, but we can't enjoy it today.
Just means we have to come back.
Yeah, definitely.
That's not a problem.
I really like that we started off this one. It's light, it's refreshing, it's classic, unfiltered. It's really good. Really good.
Yeah, it's
But
not a palate record.
flavorful.
And flavorful,
That's
exactly.
so
Yeah.
important. A lot of times we use light and refreshing, and I sometimes think of some of those beers as, yeah, they're good, but they're not really full of flavor. But this is very full of flavor, and I think that's what hit me right off the bat was I don't know.
The richness.
No,
It has
it's
a rich
true.
character.
Richness. Yeah, and aroma too. And it's
Yeah.
not a palate record, which is good. So
Yeah, it's
Very good.
Yeah, it's nice to have a good complexity and a good level of flavor that's not gonna.
Yeah.
You know,
You can actually
overpower
start
everything
off with
else,
this
yeah.
one then.
Can you talk about the growlers a little bit? We were snapping some photos of the growlers, the 64-ounce growlers specifically, before the show, and I really love the design that's on here.
Thank you. Yeah, we well, Eric's our graphics and design guy, so I'll let him kind of go into it.
No, this is actually one of Tim's friends is an artist, and we've been, searching around for different ideas, and he came up with a really cool idea with this map of different hop growing regions, and then,
I'll model it here for you guys.
Yeah, and then put his spin on it, and it came out really well. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I like
That's
that
a
a
really
lot.
cool design. Yeah.
On the it kind of takes you through, a map of the world with a big hop cone on every, prominent hop growing region around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And on the back,
I saw that the hop growing regions. Not to steal your thunder, I'm
it's
sorry.
a little guy. No. I'm glad you saw it because we were wondering. We actually just got these in this week. Shout out to Matt Flail at the Beer Yard. Thank you very much for designing these. But so basically we didn't know how it was going to look on a growler. I mean, it's kind of a complex image. Usually you see a brewery use just their logo, which we did for the small growlers. But I'm pretty happy with it.
It's definitely it stands out. I mean, you look at that. If you saw this growler amongst others, you'd be like, "Hey, what is that?"
It makes
one?
you look twice. Like, oh, what is
What
that?
is
Yeah.
that? I want to see what that.
That
is.
was the idea, and you see so many of these brown growlers now that
Yeah,
they just
all
blend
the
together
same.
and
it
they
all
all
becomes this
exactly.
noise. Yeah.
Yeah, and people don't even want to buy them anymore. And that's been one thing.
Like
Can
the
we bring
shelves
her-
at Steph's house.
Yeah, she's got some decorations.
To say
I have
the least.
160 of
saying
them.
about
there.
two-
That's the
200
running
now?
count?
Well, I-
Wow. I've got 5.
I think we're gonna need
I
to
have a
add
lot.
ours to your shelf.
Yeah.
No,
I used to buy them from every single brewery that I ever visited, and then I got to the point where I had over 100, and now I only buy the really cool ones now. And of course, now I started saving cans. Make it stop.
Yeah, see, I've got more bottles than I do growlers, but there's a few cans in there too.
Yeah.
Well, at least cans are smaller.
That's true.
To an extent.
They fit nicely in between the growlers.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a joke in there somewhere.
Yeah. I just don't want to have to put up more shelves.
But yeah, I'm glad you guys like the growler because you're the first people that saw it.
Quite literally.
Yay!
Awesome. Yeah, it's really cool.
If you're listening to this, I'm sure you know that I'm Dan Baker, one of the 3 Beer Busters, a craft beer focused podcast and online magazine. Together with my cousin and brewologist Steph Hefner and my brother and fermentertainer Wayne Baker, we feature guests who are passionate and involved in this wondrous world of craft beer. We've built an extensive online outlet at beerbusterspodcast.com, reporting on industry news and events, as well as regular beer reviews and brewpub and brewery features. Beer Busters is a go-to source for news, information, and entertainment for everyone from the casual beer drinker to the super obsessed fanatic. As we've grown since May 2013, we are now preparing to form a business. In this journey, we are purchasing new equipment to help us expand into other outlets like our new YouTube channel. We'll continue to strive for the quality you've come to know as we become Beer Busters Media. You've supported us so far by continuing to listen to us and read our articles, and we're extremely grateful for your loyalty. To support us in our journey, please head to beerbusterspodcast.com and click on the Help Us Grow link. Now that we have a little bit of beer in us, I think it's time we have a little more fun. Wayne, what do we have today?
Well, today, I think you know exactly what we have. The same thing we have every time you ask us what we have. It is crafted by a team of eccentric artisans living in a hut made of recycled 1980s electronics in the wilds of the Canadian Yukon. Happy Funtime Games is a tour de force of sophistication with a touch of liberated anti-postmodern counter-intellectualism for those who appreciate the finer things in life, but only with irony.
I love how you come up with a creative introduction every time we play this game.
Happy Funtime is also produced in a facility that also processes nut products.
I'm allergic. I have to go.
I will give you, well, not you guys because you probably don't know, but I will give Dan and Steph 3 guesses what game we're playing today, and the second 2 don't count.
Libation or fabrication?
Yes, that's right. It's the continuation of the beerdication of, you know the rest.
But
To my left, Dan, is this beer real or fake?
I didn't get to guess what the game was going to be.
Yeastus Christ Super Sour. Is that a real or fake beer?
God, I want that to be real.
If it's not, it should be real.
Oh, we're stealing that
It
name.
needs
It's
to
not
be real.
Okay, you're saying it needs to be real? Okay, Dan's going to say it's real. Eric, what do you think? Is that real or fake?
I'm going to say it's fake because I want to be able to steal that name.
Okay, fake because you want to take it? All right, I get royalties. If
I
it's
was going to
fake.
say.
Tim, what do you think?
Yeastus Christ Super Sour.
Yeah, yes.
All right, that's in my idea book now. I'm going to say, all right, I got to be different. I'm going to say it's not real.
You're going to say it's fake? All right, you're going to say it's fake.
I'm going to
Steph?
say it's real.
Steph's going to say it's real. Dan and Steph are correct. That is absolutely real. It is a 7.4% ABV wild ale from a Copenhagen brewery whose name I think is pronounced Tool, but I got that from a British guy on YouTube, so who knows?
And Tim just crossed it off.
Broke my heart. It's crossed off.
I'm sorry to break your heart, man.
Just broke Tim's
I don't
heart.
get many ideas, okay? The one that I had. is
Sorry.
gone.
It would have been stolen anyway. So it's
It is a version of their Yeastus Christus farmhouse IPA on speed. It is aged 9 months in old Chardonnay barrels with lactic acid. Has funk from Brettanomyces lampicus and Bruxellensis. Tart fruitiness from the lactic acid bacteria, and has a perfect balance between caramel malts and bitters from the hops. They were recently voted the 9th best brewery in the world by Rate Beer.
Wow.
So it's
That's a big deal.
It's spelled T-O and then another O with like a line through it, like a no smoking sign, and then an L.
so Tool.
So Tool. Yeah.
What's the difference between the O and the O with the line through it?
I don't know. I think it changes the pronunciation, and it's actually like
It's like an umlaut.
It's like Fredericks.
Like what?
The O changes the pronunciation. The line.
But you said like
It's pronounced Fredericks.
Frederick?
Yeah, Fredericks.
Interesting.
T-O-O-L. Fredericks. Moving on, and Eric's gonna go
Sounds
first.
like R-O-L-E-I-D-S spelled
Tell
relief.
me, is this beer real or fake? This beer is called Exasperated IPA.
I'm gonna go with fake on that one. It sounds too forced.
Too forced. Okay, all right, fair enough. Tim, do you think that's real or fake?
I'll go with real.
You go with real, Steph. Thinking very hard.
I'm going to say fake.
You're gonna say fake, and finally, Dan.
I will say fake as well.
You will say fake as well. Tim, you are the only one who was wrong.
You're actually right.
It was fake. It was not a real beer, but it was inspired by the state of mind I was in while I was
That's what
writing
I was
this game.
thinking.
And Steph will know because there were emails about it.
Yes. That's what I was
I'm copying
thinking.
you
That's
guys
the word
next.
to describe you.
That's not fair. You had, like,
Wayne,
insider
you know it's
information there.
Thursday, and I get a response. Fuck. I'm like, it's almost 8 o'clock, and he has not posted the new brew
I was
review.
busy video editing.
Something has got to be up.
It's been a long week. Moving on, this is our third and final beer, and Tim's going to go first on this one. And this beer is called Barrique O Karma.
Oh, man.
Is that real or fake?
I'm going to get this one right.
Okay.
I'm going to say it's fake.
You're going to say it's fake. Okay.
I'm
moving
going to
over
say
Steph.
real just because you said fake.
That's going to say real because Tim said fake. Fair enough. Good
I'm
strategy,
not
Dan.
even thinking.
I'm automatically wrong. It's
Well, because you got
I
the
lost.
goose egg, so.
I'll go real.
Dan's going to go real. Okay. Eric, finally.
I'm also gonna go real.
You're also going to go real. Tim, once again, you are the only one who was wrong. That is a very real beer. It is now retired, but it was a 6.5% black IPA from Farrell Brewing Company in Baskerville, Australia, a city I presume is famous for hounds.
Oh, jeez, really?
I really don't have much to say about this beer, but I would like to, as a side, say that while I was writing up this game, I was sipping on another black IPA, or rather a
Black Cowgirl.
double IPA. Yes, Black Cowgirl, acquired on our recent visit to South County Brewing. And I just want to say it's an excellent beer, and shout out to JR. And be sure to check out our first official video, which by the time this episode is out, will be on our YouTube
right.
channel, and you can watch it. And we shot a little virtual tour there at South County Brewing.
Now you
so-
can read, you can listen, or you can watch.
Yes, that's
All of your
right.
senses.
It's a trifecta.
Most of your senses.
Don't do it all at the same time, though.
You can't taste us.
So I'm going to go ahead and try and add up the points here real quick.
So
and
me,
see
0. Is that real
the
easy?
big winner is, yes.
You got the 0 with the line through it.
You did get the 0 with a line for it. That's what it is. It's 2-0-L. I get it now. We have a tie for first place, ladies
Do
and
we
gentlemen. Dan and Steph, my fellow beer
Whoa!
busters, with 3 points apiece. Coming in
God.
second with a respectable 2 points is Eric. And sitting at the bottom with absolutely nothing is Tim.
Congrats, guys. Congrats. Screw you. I don't name the beers here, so.
Well,
Just call Wayne. He'll name your beers.
yeah, that's of course. Okay, well, now that we have that down, Steph, I believe you have some beer-educating to do.
No. Your beers. No. Know your beers. I thought you were going to say what's on top.
I already said something.
During the last few episodes of Beer Busters podcast, we discussed choosing the proper glassware and perfecting the perfect pour. So during this episode, let's go to the next step and discuss how to taste your beer.
By
I
drinking
assume you
it,
use your tongue and the mouth region in general.
the mouth region.
And by the way, I typed this up prior to the Budweiser commercial. When analyzing a beer, you can't just gulp it down and say it's great or it's crap. Even though tasting is an individual art, there are a few steps which, if followed, will take your beer tasting to the next level. So here's what our friends at Beer Advocate recommend. Step 1, look.
Open your mouth. Oh.
Take a moment to marvel at the beauty of your beer before you partake of it. Raise the beer in front of you, but don't hold your beer directly in the light, as it will dilute the beer's true color.
I like how we all just started following along and doing exactly what Steph was saying.
Well, now that we have fresh pours of the wit in front of us.
Yes, teacher, yes. Now what do we do next?
Notice the head and consistency.
I thought it was an exercise. So
And one.
Lift.
Hold on. Step
don't
2.
drink it.
Agitate.
Spit it back out. Agitate.
Gently swirl your beer in order to pull out aromas and slight nuances.
Be careful not to spill.
This will also loosen and stimulate carbonation and test head retention.
This carbonation does seem stimulated.
Yeah. Absolutely. And look, there's still a head, so that's good. Now, step 3, smell. 90 to 95% of what you experience is through your sense of smell. Breathe in through your nose with 2 quick sniffs. Then, with your mouth open.
Wait, what?
Then through your mouth only. Let all.
I have a question. So when you say breathe, sniff with your mouth open, is it 1 long sniff or 2 short sniffs with your mouth open?
It does not specify.
1 medium length, I would imagine.
Yeah. Let olfaction guide you. Agitate your beer again if necessary and ensure that you are in an area that has no overpowering aromas. Enjoy the bouquet of the beer. Step 4, finally, taste.
Goddamn time.
Sip the beer. Resist swallowing immediately. Let it wander and explore your entire palate. Note the mouthfeel, the consistency of the liquid's body.
Your palate is a wonderland.
Is that the name of this episode, by the way?
It is.
It's official.
Thank you, John Mayer.
Your palate is a wonderland.
Note the mouthfeel, the consistency of the liquid's body, and breathe out during the process of tasting.
Wait, what?
The process of exhaling is called retro-olfaction and will... Olfaction, really? Yeah, no. Yeah. Retro-olfaction.
Olfaction?
Yeah. Olfactory.
Yeah, olfactory.
Senses.
I would have thought that's impossible, but it actually is possible, and it works.
Some circular breathing.
Because your sense of smell works in both directions.
Wow.
And your taste is a lot of retro-olfactory.
You can smell when you breathe out?
Yeah.
So this retro-olfaction will release retained stimulations at the mucus and mouthfeel level, but at a higher temperature. Sometimes this will be the same as the olfactory process, if not different and complementary. Try to detect any sweetness, salty flavors, acids, and general bitterness. Don't forget to try tasting the beer after it warms up just a bit as well. Really cold beer tends to mask some of the flavors. As a beer warms, its true flavors will pull through, becoming more pronounced. So there you go.
I have a question. When you are supposed to breathe out while tasting, is that before or after you swallow?
Before.
That is a good question.
Okay.
Haven't you actually done that?
Somebody gets it, see?
No, that's
Somebody didn't want to give me an evil look.
The hairy eyeball.
I'm obviously not a tasting snob, and I did not know a lot of all this double sniff and all that stuff. But a lot of times when you're didn't you ever do that where you're tasting and you breathe out while it's in your mouth, like through your nose? You didn't notice it? That gives you a little... I don't know.
If anything, it's just been subconscious.
No, I do it a lot, yeah.
Well,
So now you know how to properly taste beer.
I've been drinking beer wrong my entire beer drinking life.
We just got scienced.
Wow.
That's right. We did indeed.
Wait for it.
We got what?
There it is.
All right. Well, on that note, we have other beers that we can now properly taste. So,
Beer me! Beer me! Beer me! Beer me!
all right. So now our first step is to hold it up to the light. But while we're doing so, not directly in the light, though, we have to look at it, but shade it. What are we about to sample?
So this is the ESB. It's called the Norseman. This is a very malt-forward beverage, but very smooth and balanced at the same time.
Ooh, I love the smell of it. Was I supposed to jump to smell yet?
Oh, we didn't get there.
We can
I'm
go to
already
olfactory.
drinking.
Yeah, I've actually been
I'm okay with
sipping already.
olfactory.
Yeah.
We've already
I
failed.
got the retro
We've
olfactory
failed.
going on.
It smells really, really, really good, though.
It's got a sweetness in the aroma. It's got a nice caramely character and a little dark fruit at the end.
Yeah, it does. Mm-hmm. And you get some of that dark fruit when you smell it too.
Yeah.
At least I did up front.
And when you cough it up out your nose.
Yeah, exactly. And then your olfactory senses go away, and you just chug. No.
I think the British ale yeast that we use in it gives it what I get from it is almost like a plum, and I think that's like something that you can't replicate in a beer. The yeast is the only thing that's going to give you that.
Yeah.
So we thought it was pretty cool. It was almost a mistake. We use that yeast because we like a nice clean British beer. But if you ferment at different temperatures, you can get different flavors. The lower temperatures for this yeast definitely give you that more plum, raisiny flavor.
And it's very nice, and it's especially on like the tail end. You get that, yeah.
And it kind of the plummy kind of taste sticks around a little bit, but plummy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
there is a bit of that lingering sweetness that sticks with you. But
It's really good. It makes me want to go back in for more, and then there's more of it afterwards, which makes me go back in for more, and then
Traditionally with ESBs, they're not as sweet, at least in my experience from tasting them. There's a pretty wide range, but at least when we get them around here, Victory, other breweries, they're pretty light. They're obviously sessionable beers, so not high in alcohol. But there's just kind of not a lot of body to it, and there's not a lot of sweetness. We wanted to do that a little differently. So like you were walking into a British pub, and you just got it straight from the source.
Nice. Yes. It makes me feel British.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Jolly good.
Go to Jelly Chest to have a
Good
pipe
on you,
for the
mate.
whole thing to blow over.
Cheers, mate.
what is it
I
with
think I was Australian there for a second.
Good night, mate.
Good night.
Something like that.
Going back to the motherland.
Accent switch.
Yes. Das ist gut.
Lost mein Beer.
I do like ESB is one of those styles that I don't think about until I drink one. I'm like, this is a really great style of beer, and I do like that you kind of twisted it a little bit from what you're used to getting. It did have a little bit more of that sweetness and a little fruity character in it. It's very good.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we've toyed with not even calling it an ESB. I mean, technically, stylistically, it is. But I mean, with the changes I think that we made and you getting more body out of it, we call it almost sometimes we're thinking about even changing the name to just an English style ale, or for the people that also don't understand, not a lot of people out there drink ESBs on the regular. So you tell someone, "Oh, this is an ESB," and they're like, "What the hell is that?"
What is that? Or you tell them what it means, and they're like, "I don't want it. It's bitter."
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, they're like, "No, that's an IPA."
Yeah.
No, it's not.
No, not quite.
That's a good silence.
It is. Yep. It's
Right?
appreciative silence.
I'm enjoying.
It's olfactory.
Or retro.
Retro olfactory.
The more I drink it, the more I get the biscuity aftertaste. At first, I was getting just a lot of the sweetness, and I was waiting for it, and now I'm starting to.
This goes back to your science here. So as this warms up, and really with it.
Holy crap, that scared the shit out of me. I thought my phone was ringing, but I was like, how is it ringing through this?
Yeah, for this style, I mean, it really should warm up a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, for a British style. So you're going to get a lot more of that toastiness.
I like it a lot more now that I've had a few sips. At first, I was like, yeah, this is good, but it's a little sweet for me.
Yep.
But,
the toastiness is going to come. It comes through eventually. So.
You definitely
nice.
get a little more of the bitterness too when it warms up. I don't know if we went over or if you guys are even interested in the hops that we use for this. We use the Fogel variety, which is a traditional British hop, and then we also use Willamette, which is really just an Americanized version of the British version Fuggles. But so we wanted to kind of bring the two worlds together there. Also, Willamette, as it warms up, you get a little bit of spiciness from it too, which is pretty cool. Not too much, but a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah. So where does the name come from? Norseman ESB. What's the story there?
Actually, so the Norsemen, I don't know if you've ever watched the show Vikings.
Ragnar Lothbrok.
There you go. So the Norsemen came and conquered, the British. So that's sort of where it comes from. So, our amazing ESB, the Norseman, is coming down to conquer the typical British ESB.
So really, Eric and I were just drinking one night while kegging this, and we were saying, what the hell are we going to call this beer? And we were just getting off like a 2-week-long stint of watching Ragnar Lothbrok and Vikings, and basically it's just a show where everyone gets killed by the Vikings. So
This
we're
is a
thinking,
beer slayer.
wait, these are made in Britain, so the Vikings, if they're coming down every summer to raid this place, what's making them come back? What makes them keep coming back? So we're thinking it's the beer, definitely. So that's why we called it the Norseman.
The Norseman ESB. Very good. I may have to watch this show now.
It does sound like your kind of show.
It is a good show.
I'd be curious when the food trucks start doing what people would like to eat with this.
I would also be. Yeah, I don't know if I'm right here, but we always thought that it would go really well with a really good like beer battered fish and chips.
Yeah.
And just like, oh man.
Yeah.
I just think about that and I'm like
Beer battered, of course, with this.
And then
Yeah.
it's like, is that like cannibalism?
It could be.
Wait, what?
Beer cannibalism? I don't know. Maybe.
Is the what?
Maybe.
But yes, beer battered with that.
Obviously with the Norseman.
I want French fries with it.
Chips. Hence.
French fries.
Chips.
Fish and chips? Indeed.
Yeah, the I don't even know what other dishes really pair with an ESB well, but I'm thinking British with that, and I've always wanted to have this with a really well executed fish and chips meal.
Blood pudding.
Bangers and mash.
Is that a dish?
Oh yeah.
Feel like a banger in your mouth.
You would be surprised how often I come up with an excuse to say bangers and mashers. And it's usually when we're drinking an ESB.
Of
I
course.
guess it's not that unusual then.
Yeah, I guess not. Oh,
Oh, cheerio.
thank you.
Oh, I should have just left the cap off.
So I'm interested to so the flavors you guys are getting up front. You said you're getting some of the dark fruit. You're not getting too much bitterness, right?
Right. No. Getting the plumminess.
What else is in there? I mean, this beer is obviously being one of our four. We really are kind of we're not attached to any beer, but we want to know what people think. ESB is not a sexy style really in any way, but I think if done well, I think people are really receptive to it.
Absolutely.
Yards. I mean, the Brawler is their number one seller. So
Put
your
it
favorite beer?
and put it on cask.
Yeah, and it's
An
definitely I
ESB
think
on cask is
What
amazing.
Steph said, it struck
Goes well
me,
with brunch.
yes, it does.
It struck me as unusually sweet at first, and then I was getting the dark fruit like in the end, and it does kind of change as you drink a little more of it, and I think it becomes a more traditional ESB flavor the further you go along.
Now I always ask people when they try our beers because we really want feedback, and actually, criticism is better than people saying I love your beer.
Right.
Would that be something you change in a beer if it's got that upfront sweetness? Because if you're letting it warm up to drink it, is that a good thing or?
Me personally, I like the idea that I can tell it's going to change a little bit when it warms up, and it's kind of like gives you something to look forward to. And
Cool.
If somebody's like a huge beer snob and is approaching an ESB and they get that sweetness up front, they'd be like, "This is an ESB, it's too sweet." But I don't know. I think it's fine.
Cool.
I
It's
enjoyed
an
that.
English ale.
Yeah.
It's not ESB.
Yeah.
I prefer my ESB's malty. I love a good malt forward English ale. I prefer the beer when it warmed up.
Okay, gotcha.
That's
No,
me.
it's cool to know because everyone, you want to get everyone's opinion, and that's what, as a brewmaster, that's kind of what formulates your plans for a beer.
Yeah.
If you're brewing a beer that everyone says is too sweet and they want it to warm up, well, just take some of that sweetness away. And,
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I feel like the style overall is made for a little bit warmer. 'Cause whenever I think of
Sure.
On cask.
on cask, exactly. Whenever I think of like we were watching The World's End the other night, and
Are there
all you-
Vikings in that?
No,
There should be.
I could
There's,
have swore there
alien
would
robots. But
Zombies. No?
no, that was
zombies.
Shaun of the Dead.
Damn it.
Same people,
Dinosaurs?
same people though. But I imagined that it was all like warm pints. Everything they poured seemed just for me. I don't know why, because you can't really tell just from looking at it. But I just imagined it was warmer.
Yep.
But I like the sweetness out of it. I really do.
You guys are giving us ideas now, like putting this on cask.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean,
All
like,
right.
You can't have an ESB and not put it on cask. I'm
man.
sorry. Especially with fish and chips, you're gonna throw down fish and chips like lamb.
I'm thinking like something crazy with fish and chips. Put this on nitro,
Whoa.
and that would
Be
just like
interesting.
blow people's
Smooth it out.
minds.
Yeah.
Because I like fish and chips with a stout.
And I think with the slighter sweetness to it, nitro would be an interesting
Oh yeah.
way to go.
And rounding out our tasting, what do we have now? Something that smells really good.
Are you going, Eric, or am I going? Can we cut that out?
Can we go both at the same time?
Outtake. Take number
On the
two.
count of three.
No, this is the Chief IPA. So I know you're gonna ask me, so I'm just gonna say it. The Chief IPA, there's no story behind it. We just wanted we brewed an IPA, Well, here's the story. We brewed the IPA.
There's no story, but here it is.
And we didn't have a name for the IPA, obviously. But we were like, oh, shit, this beer does not fuck around. So he's the chief. He doesn't take any shit from anybody. He's kind of an all-American badass, if you will. When we think about the chief, kind of some of the inspiration came from, I don't know if you guys are into country music, but Eric Church.
Don't know who that is.
You said American Badass, and I really thought you were going Kid Rock.
It was like not quite Kid Rock, but no, Kid Rock's an American badass. Like Clint Eastwood.
Okay, I know who that is.
Nobody messes with Clint Eastwood, right? Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, just really that like American cowboy-esque type character.
John Wayne.
So, John Wayne. Yes, John Wayne. So really, that's what we were thinking about when we brewed this beer. It's obviously really hop forward. We brew the beer with Cascade, Centennial, Amarillo, and Citra hops. So we really try to pack all the C's into it, if you will, and a little A. But what do you guys think?
D.
That's going on the soundboard.
It probably is.
Yeah, and then we dry hop with Amarillo as well, so you really get the aroma.
I get at first I get a touch of mint right away, and then the malt. What just happened?
Sidebar. You guys go ahead.
Cut.
And then I get it. The malty sweetness kicks in, and then you get the bitterness, and then that's where you're like, yes, this does not mess around. But that touch of mint and that herbal taste in the beginning is really intriguing, and I wasn't expecting it, but I really liked it.
Now, in a good way, a bad way, or
No, completely good way.
okay. And
Was that the intelligent thing you had to say?
That's what I was saying, but I was
It's a
trying
middle
not
finger.
to do it. I was trying to be respectful about it.
I wasn't.
And then I almost fell over, so.
That's what you get.
It didn't work out so well. I'm not getting the mint. That's interesting that you,
Yeah, neither
that
am
you
I.
say that. I didn't pull that out, but
Pull it out.
it's not a very effective method.
You are on the sound.
Now you are definitely on the soundboard. Oh my.
pull it out.
So Wayne, if you're not getting mint, what are you getting?
I'm definitely getting nice citrusy, maybe a little floralness, which is maybe where that mint is coming from for you.
Maybe your definition of floral is my definition of minty and herbal.
It could be. But it's delicious.
It's really good.
This is really good.
This is one we've been working on the longest, I'd say.
Yeah.
And this is what, like the 50th generation? I don't even know anymore.
I started drinking craft beer with IPAs, so I think a lot of people do.
Everybody does.
And now I hesitate to say when somebody says, "What's your favorite style?" I'm not going to say IPA because I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
But I did. Steph's laughing at me.
I'll do it.
Who wants to be that guy?
Yeah. But I do really like a well executed, balanced IPA that's not all about the craziness.
Not all about
and
base.
this definitely. Yeah.
I don't want to be
All
as good
about that
punch me in
hops.
the face. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I want like a nice. It's got to have some sort of balance to it, but still have that amazing
Yeah,
flavor.
it's
Yeah.
interesting. It's interesting.
It hits you with
changes
the
and
right. It hits you with the hop up front, and then the hops mellow out, and you get all the flavor behind it. Then
and then the bitterness comes back, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh yeah, this is.
oh
IPA.
yeah, there it is again. Just kidding, I'm still here.
The thing with IPAs that kind of like what you guys were saying, like we didn't want an IPA that relied on the hops. I know that's kind of hard. That might be like an oxymoron or something. But there's with the hop shortage, especially as a small brewer, you can't just pack a beer with Citra and expect for that to be like a sustainable thing. So we wanted an IPA that was going to work. You could switch out the hops. God forbid we had to take Amarillo out. It could still be a really good beer with a nice malt backbone, not too much, but also hoppy. So we didn't want to, like slam you in the face with all that dank hop aroma right up front, although that would be nice. But just have a well-balanced IPA that doesn't mess around.
You can make the head chief, and that can be the dank knock you
Yeah,
on
the
your
double IPA.
Yeah, I was gonna say
That'll be
or the
yeah.
Master Chief.
The Master Chief.
Master Chief,
The
head
Master
chief. Is that what we decided on? Master Chief, head chief.
I was going
Yeah,
Master
Master
Chief
Chief.
because it's a Halo
Yeah,
reference.
it's-
Yeah, let's go
It's a
Master
video
Chief.
game
I like
thing.
that.
Yeah. Although you might get sued.
Probably.
Let's not get you sued.
Yeah, okay. We'll call it El Presidente. Just
There you go.
completely off.
I like the haziness too of the color.
Yeah, this is also an unfiltered. I mean, all
Yeah.
the beers that we tasted today are unfiltered. We do have a filter here to use. We just don't like using it. So,
Although the ESB was pretty clear.
Is
It
that
was
a
pretty.
DE filter?
what's that?
Do you have a DE
It's a plate filter.
Oh, it is a plate.
So we actually have never used that one. That just came in because that's for our big system. We have a filter for the
Wait, you
small
can't
one.
say you hate using it until you've actually used it.
That one is
it will get
beautiful.
used. It will
but
get
It will
used.
get used. Yeah,
Very lightly.
on a bigger system. So you can with the plate filter, you can filter at use a high or a low medium. So we could the Chief, for instance, you don't want to filter out all the hoppy goodness, if you will. So we just filter out the solids, the yeast, some of the larger particles, and then keep the beer nice and clean. So, but yeah, we do have a smaller filter for this system. There's really no point in using it. All the beers turn out well without filtering. So,
I mean, if what we had today is any indication, yeah, they do. They turn out really good
thank you.
without being filtered.
Really good. Thank you.
I look forward to coming back when the tasting room is open and when you guys can really start expressing your creativity and do those small batch beers. And you're going to offer flights also, so people can kind of taste all 8 beers that you have on tap at once?
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
And that's something we're really looking forward to. And yeah, I mean, it's been a long road, but patience is something that we've learned very much because, yeah, it's a tough industry, and it really is. There's a lot of extra stuff and red tape that comes along with it. You know, you're trying to start a business, but you're also trying to start a brewery, which is a completely separate animal. So, yeah, we're really looking forward to having that tap room open and just having people in and sharing the beers. That's the idea.
Yeah,
that's really what it's all about.
yeah, I think it's a tall order trying to have 8 beers on tap at all times, but a lot of breweries do it, and I think that we can, especially with the small system, doing the seasonals and specialties, can get those extra 4 beers in there.
So if our listeners want to learn more about Levante Brewing, you can go to levantebrewing.com. They're on Twitter at Levante Brewing and facebook.com/Levante Brewing.
And that's, Dan, if you would care to do the honors, that is L.
You asked if I want to do the honors, then you started.
Well, I didn't know. I wanted to make sure you knew what I was talking
Yes.
about.
So for anyone who is unaware of the spelling, Levante brewing.com. If you don't know how to spell brewing, I feel bad for you.
I definitely do. And just on that note, we are also going to be at the Kennett Winterfest, which is on February 28th in Kennett Square. We actually did a collaboration with Steve Armstrong. It's a beer to guard.
Ooh.
It's a farmhouse ale basically, and then we took it a step further and we aged it on figs and dates, and then we added some Brett to it to sour it a bit. So
it
it's
keeps
been-
getting better.
Slightly sour.
Slightly soured, like I like it, and it's been aging for 2 months now, I think.
Yeah, 2-3 months.
So yeah,
I
it'll be
tasted
3
it the other day, and I think anyone who tries it, if you're a Brett fan, and also if you're a Saison fan, or a beer to guard, it's really good. It came out,
a beer fan.
if you like beer, you'll probably
beer,
like this.
you will probably enjoy it.
But it's weighing in somewhere around 10.5%. So
Wow.
It's a big boy.
it's a big boy.
Wow.
And it's dangerous because you
Wait,
can't really
a
taste it.
10% beer to guard?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's almost sessionable.
In your sense.
Any other events coming up? Is that the only one on the docket right now?
Yeah, well, really our focus is to get this place up and running. So we're going to be having a grand opening hopefully pretty soon for the tap room within the next couple of months. We're going to continue to do Saturday growler fills as long as we have beer available. So if we don't sell out this Saturday, then we'll keep doing that in the coming Saturdays. We are on March 14th doing an event at the Philadelphia Curling Club, the Jeff Harris Curlathon, which is actually pretty cool. It's to raise money for people who've had injuries, traumatic spinal cord injuries, and who are paraplegics, quadriplegics. So it's a pretty cool event. We've been involved with that for like 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
And that's curling in the Canadian brushes on the
throwing
ice.
Winter Olympics.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. No, it's fun. Anyone who comes out to that, there's great food. They'll have like a pig roast. There's silent auction, a raffle. There's always a lot of cool sports memorabilia there. They do a homebrew contest as well.
Yeah.
And then we'll be slinging beers behind the bar. So
And
also there's open ice.
Yeah, you can try curling. I mean, when do you get to do that?
Yeah,
So
I've never done
it's-
that.
It's actually kind of fun. So
See, that's Saturday, March 14th. I believe that's the date.
Didn't we have someone on the show, I think it was a while back, we started talking about curling, and they said, you'd be surprised how big of like a drinking game it really is. Like people who do curling just drink like crazy. I can't remember who it was. Was it Paul?
I don't remember.
I don't
Might have
know.
been Paul.
We have to go back into the archives to find out.
Well, if that event is any indication, it's definitely true. I mean,
They run through some beer.
Yeah, a lot of beer, and we're going to sponsor it fully this year for the first time, which is pretty cool.
That's
Awesome.
exciting.
So, yeah, we're looking forward to it.
They're working on a Facebook page as well as a website. So if you Google Jeff Harris Curlathon, you should be able to get some info on it. Can I say Google?
Yeah.
You can say Google all you want, all day long.
At this point, it's a verb. It's everyday use.
Bowl Super.
Bowl super.
What listeners can do if they would like is we're going to be posting that information to our website soon, as soon as we get it. Obviously, I don't have it right now, but and we'll post that to our website, blog, Facebook, stuff like that. So any interest at all, just check us out there.
Awesome.
Which you should check them out anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Dare I ask,
Dare you.
what are the favorites?
You should dare.
I should dare.
Dare to dream.
The wit.
I knew you were going to go first. I was looking directly at you.
I always go first.
Have you ever not gone first?
Nope. Seriously, I've known both of them their entire existence. I came
true.
first, so I'm always first.
Not by much.
She rules.
The wit.
I'm kind of torn between the Wit and the Chief. All three of them were awesome, I thought.
Thanks, man.
I think the Wit though, with a
Gun to your head.
if you told me I had to decide and that it was very urgent.
I think I have to go Norseman.
Yep.
All
I
right.
got to go ESB.
My man.
Sophie's choice. What would your favorites be?
Of what we make, it is a very tough choice. I'm very fond of the Norseman and the Chief.
Yeah.
So let's call it a tie.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I would. We invested a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, if you will, into the
Metaphorically
Chief.
speaking, of course.
Metaphorically speaking, into the Chief. But the ESB was kind of one of those like aha moments when we just decided to. It actually started with bringing a pumpkin ESB. So we took that pumpkin ESB, which was a big hit, and made it into what it is now. The
You
Norseman.
went
away.
backwards.
we went backwards, and I was like, holy crap, I really like ESBs, if this is an ESB. And so I would have to say the Norseman is my favorite.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to see that simple, well-made, sessionable beers like ESBs are coming back. And a lot of brewers are starting to... And there are some brewers that have been serving them, but I think they're just finally getting some attention and people are starting to drink them. They're great beers, especially on cask.
Definitely.
We will cast
We'll have to
it.
work on
I
it.
promise.
Hint, hint.
I promise.
There's been a promise involved. That's awesome.
Sweet.
Oh, man. Well, it's been a hell of a ride, to say the least. But this sadly brings us to the end of another episode of Beer Busters.
I have a single tear.
Just a single one, no other ones. Guys, we can't thank you enough for having us out here. This has been fantastic.
It's been a great time.
And I have to say, Tim and Eric, great beer, awesome job.
Thank you very much.
Cheers,
Thanks for
guys. We
coming
never
out, guys.
cheers this
We
whole
did
time.
cheers. We have to.
Cheers.
We used to do this every episode.
That's
Well,
right, we did.
Sorry.
As always, I'm Dan Baker, joined by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner.
and our from entertainer.
Wayne Baker.
No squids were harmed in the making of this episode. Until next time, my friends, check out Levante Brewing. Have a good beer. That's pretty much it.
Tim and Eric, awesome show. Great job.
Thanks, guys.
Muchas gracias.
De nada.
¿Dónde están mis pantalones?
As the weather hopefully gets better, make sure you check out the first ever Kegs and Eggs Craft Beer Festival, Saturday, March 14th, from our friends at Hopheads Gear. It all starts 8 a.m. at the Batdorf Restaurant in Annville. They're going to have a featured breakfast menu, a microbrew festival with beers from people you've heard on Beer Busters, including Trogs, Evil Genius, Booby's Brewery, St. Boniface, Snitz Creek, and Pierce Brewing Company, as well as Deschutes, Sierra Nevada, Long Trail, Goose Island, and more. There's also going to be $4 Irish car bombs all day, prizes, live music, and more. Dean from Pierce Brewing Company will be releasing the Hopheads Deuce Double IPA, Maple Sugar Molasses Cider, and Patty's Pub Double Black Irish Imperial Stout. Donations are only $5 to sample over 30 beers from some of the area's best and more. You don't have to donate to sample the brews from Pierce Brewing Company, but all proceeds will benefit Patty's Pub Norlanco Relay for Life, so please help out a good cause. For tickets and more info, check out hopheadsgear.com.